my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Workshop, hot and humid. Holding the auction guitar. If you're not bidding on this, you're missing out. I'm telling you, this is a really nice guitar. It held perfect tune since Tim played it. I picked it up this morning, did not have to tune it. That's, been several days. He played it the last time Friday morning, and perfect tune. It's a good guitar. I'm telling you, you just can't go wrong with it. You need to get involved with this thing. It even comes with a custom shop booklet, and it's got a 6-latch fine case. It's a hard shell case, very plush interior. Everything's really fine about the whole thing's a very fine deal. The minimum bid on this guitar to buy it, I think, is $3,000. It's currently at $2,025. This is my little song to pay homage to the folks that used to live back here on my farm. It's called The Wedding Band. Sarah married John in '64. In that same year he marched off to war, leaving Sarah in the valley all alone. But that would change soon after he had gone. She washed the baby's clothes in the nearby spring. It was there she lost her precious wedding ring. Now feeling more alone, she longed for his return, and the nights were long as her heart would yearn. And then 160 years pass into view, when her precious wedding band was found anew, just as if her soul were there for all to see. Sarah, John, and their baby. The war raged on as Sarah made her way. The baby grew more like John every day, and she prayed that one day soon the war would end, and she'd see John coming round the bend. And despite the odds, John made his way home, and though weak and sick, Sarah would hang on, till the baby's daddy held him to his breast, allowing Sarah to find eternal rest. But then 160 years pass into view, when her precious wedding band was found anew, just as if her soul were there for all to see. Sarah, John, and their baby. Sarah, John, and their baby. If I could play one, I could make this thing sound really good, because it's a good sounding guitar. I just can't play one worth a darn. But anyway, it is a really nice guitar. I wouldn't steer you wrong. So far, every auction guitar I've sold, everybody has contacted me back and said it's exactly like you said it was. This one's the same way. It's really a fine guitar. It'd be hard to find one any better in this class than this one right here. You'd be looking a long time. Let me lay this down in the case. Takes a minute to latch 6 latches. Anyway, let me get this microphone out of my way so I don't bump it. Sue and Isaac, my grandson, left for Ohio this morning. And they're going to be down there for a few days, and they're going to be driving back on Thursday. And it pretty much takes all day to get between the two places. And anyway, so I think the boys are coming back with her again on Thursday. They're excited to come back to the farm. Let's see. Over the weekend, well, in fact, last evening, I went out for just 15 minutes with the metal detector, and I found this, which is kind of weird. Just a little lightweight, it's aluminum, so it's not super old, I don't think. I don't know what, it's some kind of a finial. It doesn't really have a hole on the end exactly. It's busted there, but I don't know what that's off of. I think it's some sort of a decoration off I don't know. I just don't even really know what it is. I mean, I've seen like things that look like this, like on decorative light posts and things where they stick off the sides or something, I don't know. I just don't know what it is. It's of no value. Apparently it's probably some kind of, mid-century trash, probably is what it is. Let's see. Got a viewer email that I thought you might like to hear some points on this one. Peter Lubbock, he says, he's writing to the Rosa Meister. He says, apprentice Peter here from Germany. And he says, we will start May 14th, 2025. That's my birthday. With the Queen Mary II from Hamburg, Germany, via Southampton, UK to New York. And they'll arrive here on the 23rd of May in the early morning. From New York, they're going to go to take a plane to St. Louis, which is not booked yet, he says. After a day on the Mississippi River or near the Mississippi River there, probably see the arch. I would recommend you see the arch while you're there. Of course, you'll see it, but I would recommend you go up in it. It's pretty cool. I like the, let's see, moving on down. From there then, after a day or so there, he's going to take a rental car and come to Rolla, Missouri. I wonder who he's coming to visit. He said he will be here for a few days and nights. He's going to book our rental apartment. And let's see. He says, I listen to your vlogs and videos every day. He says, there is something between us that you do not realize. I listen to you every day more than to my wife. He says, and I love her very much. Have you thought that you would, let's see, have you ever thought that I hear you in my life around an hour every day? No, I can't imagine that. He says, I learned a lot from you, and I'm a guitar repair and he's in the guitar repair lot. Let's see. He says he uses hide glue every day and adjusts the neck with the two-way truss rod. And then he says, smile. So, my friend, I hope I can touch your heart as you did mine. And I'm sure you will, Peter. I really appreciate this kind note. Let's see. He's got a little joke for us here. He says, how do you describe a person that speaks 3 languages? Trilingual. How do you describe a person that speaks 2 languages? Bilingual. How about a person that only speaks 1 language? American. Anyway, thank you, Peter, for the kind note. I appreciate it. He signed off with from the bottom of my pencil case, yours, Peter. Well, thanks, Peter. We're looking forward to your visit. It'll be fun. Always enjoy meeting viewers, and especially viewers from overseas. There's been one other one, I think, from overseas here. Can't remember now. It's been several years. But anyway, that's pretty cool. Let's see. Moving on down. I released 2 videos over the weekend that nobody has seen. I sound like Mr. Pete from he's the YouTube shop teacher. He's always complaining nobody's watching his videos. I'm kind of seeing where he's coming from now. Anyway, there was a cord repair video, and I have a slight update on that video, so here's the update. My friends, over the weekend, you probably saw that I released a video on repairing this cord. Well, one of the commenters suggested that I put some kind of a sealer over this, like, Flex Seal or something, and I had liquid electrical tape, so I painted that on there really well, and that's coated pretty good. I put a pretty heavy coat on there. They said for waterproofing. Quite honestly, I'm not too worried about the waterproofing aspect, because something like this, you don't get it near water, or you don't get it, out in the rain or anything like that. So I'm not too worried about the waterproofing aspect. But I think that was a good idea, just to kind of protect the cord itself, even to glue the cord together a little bit better. I just think it was a good idea. So I did that. I thought I'd just show you that. Yeah, I like suggestions like that, and it was a good one, and so I did that. I might add that on those electrical clippers there, they're antique. My dad owned those, and my wife more or less inherited from his estate that pair of clippers. And I remember Dad years ago, he'd turn them on and then he'd shake it like that, and then he'd clip the horse's mane. He'd have to shake it, though, a lot of times, because it wouldn't make a good connection. And I found them in my shop a week or so ago, and they didn't have any note on them or anything. And I figured it was just in there to repair the cord. And I asked Sue, I said, "What's it in here for?" And she said, "Just to repair the cord." Well, I repaired the cord. And then I turned them on, and I noticed that, sometimes it would make a good connection, sometimes it wouldn't. So I thought, well, was it the cord? So I did several cord tests, and, did continuity tests on the wires and things, and the wires seemed to be fine. I couldn't find any shorts in the wires. So then I started taking the clippers apart, and those do not come apart easy. Let me tell you, that's the reason I decided to repair the cord to begin with rather than put a new cord on it. They don't come apart easy at all. Back in the 60s, I guess, when those things were made, or might even been the late 50s for all I know, they made things a little stouter. Anyway, I was having trouble getting it apart. Well, I still couldn't figure out, even after I got it apart, to the point where I could get to the wires and everything, I didn't see anything that would cause a problem. And then I noticed the switch itself, and I was sliding the switch back and forth, and the switch was made out of Bakelite. And the switch rotates like this around the body, just like if this microphone is the body, the switch rotates like this. And on the edge of the switch, there's a nub, a big nub that sticks out, and when you rotate it to a certain point, it pushes on metal contacts, and that nub does, and so it turns it on, Well, I noticed that the nub had wore half in two, or even more than that. It was wore down almost flat. Well, I thought, well, there's the problem right there, So I thought, now how am I going to fix a Bakelite piece of plastic? It's not this kind of plastic you're going to be able to melt and weld, and I didn't even want to try that on this old, vintage clippers. I just didn't even want to try that. So I thought, how else could I build that up? So I had some little fiber paper towels, and I cut little tiny pieces out that would fit into the spot, and then glued them in with CA glue. And then clean each time I did it, I would clean the edges up so that it was smooth to the sides of the little switch. And then I put another layer on, did the same thing, smoothed it off again, put another layer on, smoothed it off. And basically that nub comes to a kind of a point, really. It's a nub like this. It's shaped like this, but it kind of comes to a rounded point there, and that rounded point is what pushes on those contacts, and that rounded point was gone. It was almost flat. Well, anyway, it seems to be totally successful. It seemed to hold up really well. That fiber seemed to be really the ticket. It's kind of like adding, baking soda or something like that. But to me, I don't have good luck with the baking soda thing. I know people just tout it and think it's great, but stuff that works for other people sometimes just doesn't work for me. But this fiber cloth worked really well. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. And it's stuck really well. And so in case you need to build up something like that, that's a good technique. Use a little bit of it's a paper towel, but it's more like a fiber type paper towel versus the real loose fiber paper towel. And this kind of paper towel is really strong. You could hardly break it. It's really strong. So that's what I used. And by the way, I wish I knew who gave me those. It was one of my viewers, and they were here on a visit, and they gave me this giant roll of that towel. And I'm not looking for anybody to give me another roll of those. I'll buy them. I don't have a problem buying them. But I wish I knew where they came from. They don't have any label on them at all that I can tell. And I've searched and searched, and I found similar looking stuff, but it doesn't really look exactly like this. So anyway, if that viewer happens to be watching, please send me an email. Let me know where you got that so I can get some more, because I like those. Let's see. After the cord repair, I did a lock repair video, and I put that out, and that was on the old Mortise lock, and that was the worst camera job I ever did in my life. I'm sorry about that. It was terrible. It really was. I don't blame nobody for not watching that one. But anyway, I basically had to braze the broken cast iron pieces on the inside and repair that and rebuild it up. It's a kind of a junky lock set anyway, but it's been that way on that old door for years and years. I also, after the video, I did clean up that doorway and got it where the door opened and shut much, much better. So now having the good lock on it, it works pretty well. Just thought I'd let you know that in case you care. Most of you don't. Let's see, I've got a couple little short videos on the cedar lumber. So here's the first one. Well, my friends, on Friday morning, I stacked all the 2x lumber. Basically, from about right there all the way up, I stacked all that lumber. And it's a little bit wet. Let's see what the moisture meter reads today. Okay, these bottom few boards were checking in the neighborhood of 17% on Friday when I stacked them. I'm sure they're still going to be in the neighborhood of 17%, even though they've been in the air conditioning here for the most part. Though I do have to say that Sue keeps turning the air conditioner off because she thinks I left it on by accident, I'm sure. But anyway, let's see what it is today. Like, just going into this, 15.3. 16, 15.8. Let's see here. They're dropping down, so it's in the high 15s. Let's see, let's go up a little higher and see where we're at here. This one's a little better, but that could be one there was a couple of these that had been cut longer, and that could be these. These thinner ones are a little drier, which kind of makes sense. They're not dry. This one up here might be drier. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, it's a little drier. And these have been cut a long time, so let's see what they're at. Well, they're not that much drier. I was expecting them to be even drier, but 12%, 13% will be fine because they're going to be outside anyway. The 15, 16% is a little bit wet. I wish they dried down a little bit more. But I've got the air on. I'll leave him in there again today. Probably won't start building that building until another day or two. Again, that's still not going to be dry enough. I'm no idiot, but every little bit you can do to help it is a good thing. Yeah, that lumber turned out really good. You can't tell much about it by the edges there, but that's really good stuff. They're all, I don't know, I would say 1.5 by 7 inches if you want the exact dimensions. That's what they are, which is technically a almost 2 by 8, because like a 2 by 8 is a 7.25 inches. You get ripped off on all American lumber. A 2 by is 1.5 by whatever. And in this case, a 2 by 8 would be 7.25, and these are actually just 7. It was just all I could really get worked out of these little tiny logs I had. Anyway, I noticed while that was playing that Dottie and several folks are talking about sore fingers. And I thought I'd just give my little 2 cents worth on that also. Sidecar Bob says, I don't know if they still sell them, but the Black Diamond strings used to really develop calluses fast. Well, yeah, they did come back out with Black Diamond strings in the 2000s early, and I don't know if they're still out or not, but they were much better strings in the 2000s. So I don't think I'm 99% sure they don't make the old ones anymore. But anyway, really, realistically, what you need to do for your calluses is, until you get calluses, is just put drops of CA glue on the end of your fingers. Now, don't put accelerator on there because that'll burn like crazy. Just put a drop or two of CA glue on the sore spots, and it makes a real artificial callus, and it works really good. And, it doesn't. You won't feel a thing, and it just works. So CA glue is a good thing for that. Here's a follow-up video that I filmed this morning on the lumber. So it's been drying since Friday. So it's not. I didn't expect any miracles, but here's a slight update. Okay, it's Monday morning, bright and early. Let's see if these have changed any. They started out at over 17. Yesterday they were in the upper 15s. Let's see if they've made any more progress. Little bit maybe, but not very much. So let's try this one. Yeah, they're coming down, you can tell. But, I don't expect miracles when you're doing it like this. I think they're going to be fine because the way I'm planning to use these is floor joists or ceiling joists, depending on which floor you're on, I guess. But anyway, and I think I'm going to block them in and everything, and, they're going to be nailed up pretty tight. I don't think they could warp or give much the way I'm planning to put them in, install them. So I think they're going to be fine. Yeah, I think they will. And again, that lumber looks way better on the face than it does there on those edges. Some of those edges were the rough sawn edges, but most of them have good edges and are, just perfect lumber, really. I don't think you could get anything any better at the store. In fact, I'm pretty sure you won't get anything any better. The only difference is that at the store it's already dry. Of course, when they dry it, they warp like crazy, and you can't hardly find anything straight at the store. But anyway, my plans for the week, at least, I think I'm brave enough to say this, is that starting tomorrow, I'm going to start building that floor. Now, it's crazy hot here. It's already up in the 70s at 6 a.m. And it's just too hot to work out there during the, late morning, noonday sun, and afternoon sun is just out of the question. So what I'm planning to do, and it's going to disrupt our vlogs for a day or so, is I plan to get started just about the break of daylight in the morning. And it might take me just one morning, or it might take me 2 mornings to get that floor in. And then we'll put the vlogs back at their normal time. But what I'll do tomorrow is I'll set up a vlog, just like I normally do, where people can log in, and you'll see what time it's going to go live. And more than likely, I'm going to have them go live at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which I know is going to upset the apple cart, and a lot of people aren't going to be able to watch at that time, and some people will be able to watch that have never been able to watch before. So it's a good and bad thing. But that's probably what I'm going to do, because it's just crazy too hot and especially too humid to be working during the sunny time. So, and unfortunately, the sun comes over the hill aiming right at that, so it's not going to take very long to get hot there where I'll be working. But if I start real early in the morning, I'm hoping I'll get a jump on it and be able to get it done in just maybe 1 morning, maybe 2 mornings to get the floor on. And once I get the floor on, then I can go back to working inside the shop to build the next walls for the next level. So anyway, that's the plan. I just thought I'd let you know that. And then, of course, we'll get back to our 8 a.m. vlogs as soon as possible after that. Today, right now, I'm planning to just, when we're done here, start on email. And again, I'm not that far behind now. I'm only a couple days behind, but I want to try to keep it up to date. I don't like to be real far behind on that email stuff, but it's hard to keep up. Let's see, John Pepper was our first one this morning, or at least my first one that I see. Rod Wentler and Eddie Turner. David Thorpe, and let's see, moving on down. I already noticed that David Thorpe made a joke down there later, and I don't get it, David. You're going to have to explain it to me. It's the one about the birds and the dog. I read that like twice, and I went, I don't get this one. And it's not just a reading thing this time. I just don't get it. I'm sure there's some meaning there with the bird dog and all that, but I haven't figured it out yet. Dottie Hildebrandt, prayers for all the Rosas. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And the hurricane victims and for our country too. Yeah. What went on over the weekend is pretty bad. I've already told you many times, I'm not, first of all, I'm not a political person. I really am not. I just soon stay away from it. I do vote because I think I should, and I do vote. Every time, at least in the big elections. I wouldn't say I vote at all the local little elections, and those are the ones I probably should be voting at. But anyway, I do vote, and but I'm as you've heard me say, I'm a equal opportunity hater, because I don't really like either of the candidates, and I don't really like either of the parties anymore. I tend to lean toward the Republican point of view, but I'm not a Republican extremist. Anytime you take your views to an extreme, then you end up being some idiot on top of a building with a rifle. And you shouldn't take your views to an extreme. You may not go to that extreme, but if you're extreme in your views on your political views, then you're an extremist. I don't care what you say. In other words, if there's no room to listen to the other side, you're an extremist. There's always room to listen. That's all I'm going to say about it. And like I said, I'm not taking either side, because I don't like either side. That's the truth of it. Let's see, moving on down. Dottie Hildebrandt, have you all subscribed to Ranching with Rebecca? Yeah, she's turning out some really good videos, and that's my granddaughter. Yeah, Ranching with Rebecca. You should look it up. She's doing well, and she's got a new couple of horses. Her and her boyfriend, JR, gave her boyfriend JR and Becca together went in and gave him his own horse, and he's been very helpful around here. He does lots of work. He builds fences, fixes buildings, does all kinds of stuff. May have to hire him over here. Let's see, moving on down. We got a lot of rain over the weekend, by the way, while I'm looking for question marks here. It kind of rained most of the day Saturday, which is why I did that cord repair video and all that. Again, it takes 3 to 5 times longer to make the video than it does to do the work. It's crazy how long it takes. It's unbelievable. Let's see. Looking for question marks. I'm just not seeing very many. Let's see. Zappa, hey Jerry, gonna be hot today. Be careful outdoors. Yeah, I don't plan to do much outside today. It's been bumping 100. We've had quite a few days this year already, over 100. Quite a few days. And lots of days in the 90s, in upper 90s even. Bill Rhodes, good morning, Jerry. Hope you had a good weekend. I saw your blog over the weekend that was pretty unique. Okay. I guess about the 2 videos I released. That's the only thing I released over the weekend that I can think of. So, and you could call those a blog, I guess. I don't think of them that way, but, so that's what makes my head weird is people think of different things in different ways, and I'm trying to justify that in my brain because I think about it, almost everything, I think about it pretty darn specific, which is not necessarily a good thing. Dottie Hildebrandt, Ben, you're not cheating, tell me. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Ben said he's cheating and finding easier ways to form the chords so it sounds better, and I'm training on the 4-finger ones too. Okay, well, that's fine. As long as you're getting the concept is the key thing. That, and the reason I teach it the way I teach it is because you don't every single chord is in the same relative place the way I teach it. I don't know, it may still be that way with the chords you're learning. I don't know. But that's what's cool about it. You never have to think about it. You know exactly where they are. If you know how to play a song in one key, then you know how to play it in all the keys. It just works that way once you get this concept down. David Tharp, if you drank 42 cups of coffee in one sitting, the caffeine overdose would kill you. So I guess the limit is 41. Yep, I guess it is. Yeah. And Ben's talking to Dottie about the different chords. And like I said it right up at the very beginning. There's easier ways to make the chords. But I don't know that you always can follow the same logic. David Tharp, I finally figured out why the rooster crows so early in the morning. I think maybe he wants to get a word in before the hens wake up. I'm not going there. Bill Mumbo, Jerry, managed to play along with you, including sevenths and minors. Well, cool. Very good. Very good. Bill Webb, I did watch the chord repair video, but I haven't watched the other one on the door latch. Well, it's not a very good video. I'll be honest. That door latch thing was very disappointing to me as I was editing it. I really thought it should have been better, but once I got into the tack room where I was installing it, it was really bad because it was so darn dark in there. And it wasn't so much that it was dark in there. I finally realized after I shut the door, it was that the sun was so stupid bright it was washing the camera out. And it made everything else so dark. And it just messed. It was just bad. Really bad. I'll do better from now on. I'll take all that into consideration. I'm getting used to doing this stuff outdoors. I'm not I haven't done all these videos. My thousands of videos are all indoors. So I'm getting used to it. Carolyn Fike, I did too watch your lock set video. Well, good. I watched both. Well, thanks, Dottie. I knew the faithful would watch them. There's no doubt about that part. But not a whole lot of other people are watching them. Let's see. Moving on down. Watched the Clipper video, but have been distracted by a new channel you might have heard of, Ranching with Rebecca. Yep. She's doing really well, and she's going to take off and probably pass both of us because, well, she's got the right personality and everything. It's going to be just perfect. Bill Mumbo. People used to tell me to put vinegar on my fingers to help develop calluses. Don't remember if it worked. It was 50 years ago. Like I said, instant calluses with CA glue. It works really good. It actually works fine. And you can, you can put it on once, and then you can put it on again and build it up, and it'll work. Lots of people do that, actually, in the music business. Yeah, and again, Christia says, take your time and, let your fingers tell you how much you need to go, and that's kind of true. You don't want to overdo it. You do want to enjoy it, but the CA glue really does help. Moving on down. Okay, here's the one from David Tharp. It says, my neighbor's dog was attacked by a flock of birds. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he's purebred. Oh, bread. There you go. Okay, yeah, I got it. I got it now, finally. It took the third time to get it. Oh, you're a mess. You're a mess. Let's see. I've lost it. Moved on me. I do not know where it went. Okay, I found it. Yolanda's music came down the other day. Seen the water wheel. It's so pretty. I love the cedar look. Looks so peaceful. Well, thanks, Yolanda. Yolanda is going to help Sue from time to time cleaning the apartment and the rental retreat. And I appreciate that, Yolanda. I hope you can help her out. She doesn't like to ask for help. Let me rephrase that. There are certain things she doesn't use help with. Most everything else she does. I mean, don't ever come to the farm here and go, is there anything I can help you with, Sue? Because she's going to hand you a shovel or a pitchfork or, say, yeah, grab that bale of hay there. I guarantee you she'll put you to work. So be very careful about that. But on certain things, she's real picky, like the cleaning of the buildings and stuff like that. She kind of wants to do that herself kind of thing. But Yolanda, you can straighten her out and fix that. Let's see. Yeah, sidecars. Bob says it's a blessing not having to use the old black diamond strings. Yeah, they were pretty much like barbed wire fence. You could buy them for $2 a set at the drugstore. That's where they sold them back in the 60s. David Thorpe, I remember those black diamond strings back in the 60s would turn your fingers black. I think they had silver in them. Yeah, they did turn your fingers really black. Of course, lots of strings do that too, even to this day. I don't find the phosphor bronze turning your fingers too much, although they do turn it a little bit. If you play a lot, if you play a long time, they'll turn your fingers black. But you got to play a long time. I think my record for playing a long time, I think, was 11 hours without stopping. I mean, without stopping, 11 hours. I sat down in a chair. I started playing, and it was 11 o'clock that night, I think it was, or 10 o'clock that night when I quit. Yeah, sometimes Sometimes I take things to extreme too. So am I an extremist? Well, on some things maybe, yeah. Dottie Hildebrand, thank you, Jerry, for the CA glue tip. My fingers are so sore, but not bloody yet. I'm going to try that. Yeah, I really think that'll help you. It really will. And you'll be surprised. But do not. Be sure you don't put anything. Don't get your fingers wet. Have your fingers dry before you do it, because even moisture can cause a fast reaction with the CA glue and make it dry too fast. And when it dries fast, it gets hot and it burns. So, put it on there and just let it air dry. Don't blow on it. Nothing. Just let it dry slowly, and it should be fine. Because it does burn. This stuff can burn pretty good. But they used it for healing cuts. I mean, and they still do. You can, instead of getting stitches, you can put the CA glue in your cut and close the cut. And it works. It's crazy how it works. I don't know why that creeps me out to do that though. It's the creep out factor. It's not the doing it. It's thinking about that. That just seems creepy to me, but it works. I get those dry paper cuts, or not paper cuts, but dry cracked fingers in the wintertime, especially when I'm doing a lot of woodwork, because the wood sucks the moisture out of your fingers and it causes your fingers to crack. I put CA glue in those cracks. I do that all the time, and that works really good. And it stops, first of all, it stops the crack from hurting, and it stops it from getting worse. So if you're having that problem, I guarantee I recommend that. It works good. Works really good. And it's almost instant on how quick it works. The Freeze says, everybody hit the like. Thank you. I hope everybody will. Larry Adkins, some baseball pitchers soak their fingers in pickle juice to toughen them up. Yeah, I've heard things like that. And again, I think that's probably from the vinegar, Bill Mumbo, in the 80s, I playing in an acoustic band and repaired a split thumbnail with CA glue. Yeah, it works good. CA glue is really good for healing things on your body, cracks and things like that. I can't see doing it in a raw cut. It just creeps me out. But those old dry crack cuts, that works really good for that. That way, like if you hit that, like if on those dry cuts, if you catch it on something, it rips it more and it hurts. But you put the CA glue in there, you don't have that problem. It's really good for that. Bill Mumbo, pure bread. Yeah, I got it. Let's see. I got it after a while. It took me a while, though. But, the third time I read it after I said pure bread. Oh, I get it. Birds attacking him because he's bread. Got it. Now everybody's correcting me or showing me. Let's see. Sidecar Bob. Wow, 3 of us typing at the same time. Yep. Bill Rhodes. Can someone tell me how to unblock someone? How to unblock someone? I'm not sure I know how to do that. So I'm probably not the guy. I'd have to figure it out on my own. I Google everything when I don't know how to do it. So that's the only suggestion I've got for you. And, I said, when I said I Google everything, guess what happened? My phone popped up and started listening to everything I was saying. You got to be careful what you say around your phone these days. It's kind of like little kids. You got to be careful what you say. David's explaining it now there too. I got it after I read it the third time. Sorry. Carolyn Fike, thanks to JR's tutelage, Becca is a pro at training fox riders. Yep, she's really doing well and will just do better and better over time. Hugh O'Connor, the birds and the... Yeah, okay, I got it. Let's see. Did people... Zappa something about, didn't people use moleskin on their fingertips? I've heard of that, but I don't know anything about that. Let's see. Moving on down. Sidecar Bob, an old trick from before they invented CA accelerator is to breathe, not blow, to make it cure faster. Yeah, it will make it cure faster, but it, like I said, you can, if you get that accelerated dry, you don't want that on your fingers. That hurts. So just let it dry natural. Dottie Hildebrand, Jerry had by the way, just a little bit of moisture you have in your hand will cause it to dry pretty fast. It'll dry faster on your hand than it will like on, something else you put it on. Let's see. Jerry, I had a operation and they glued me together. I was so afraid it was going to come apart. Oh, that creeps me out, man. That's why I'm not a doctor. Stuff like that creeps me out. It just creeps me out. I'm not good with blood on other people. I can butcher an animal like a deer or even a cow if I had to. I can do that once it's dead. I can't do it while it's alive. I don't want to give a shot to anything. I can't torture something, and that's just me. I can't do that. I can kill it, with a humane action, but I can't. I don't know. It probably sounds stupid to most everybody, but I can't do anything on a live person or animal like that. That's why I'm not a doctor. I would have probably been a doctor had it not been for that reaction I have. I just don't. And I think that reaction, honestly, I don't know when, but at least some of it, some of the squeamish blood part, which I just don't like to see a live thing bleeding. It doesn't bother me after it's dead, but while it's alive. I think that came from when I was about, I don't know, I was just a little kid. I don't even know how old I was. Probably wasn't even in the 4th grade. It might have been 3rd grade, 2nd grade. I don't know. But my dad says, "Here, hold this horse. I've got to sew this up." And the horse had run through a barbed wire fence and cut a huge gash. This wasn't a gash like this. This was a gash like this. It was well over a foot long, and it was hanging down. Oh, and I'm holding this, and he starts sewing it up, and I just pass out. I'll never forget it because it was traumatic, And anyway, let's see. Moving on down, Dan. I liked getting my strings from the drugstore. You could get them one at a time for a few cents a piece. Yeah. That was the good old days. Things have changed a lot. Of course, now you can get them from your easy chair. You just go on Amazon and say, "Send me some strings." Bill Rhodes, back in the 80s, I used CA glue to repair a broken tooth. Yeah, okay. It's cut off there, so I don't know what he was getting at, but whatever. Doesn't sound quite right. A broken tooth. I think he's talking about on something else. Not on a person, I think. Mark, Jerry, how hard is it to change an internal governor on an 18.5 horse Intech Briggs & Stratton engine? I have to attempt it today. Well, that's a good question. I don't know on that for sure. I've had governors apart, many times in my life. I've had them in and out, but I'm not too sure, I'll be honest. I don't think it's very difficult. Just don't know, I haven't kept up with the modern engines and things, and I don't know how hard it is to get into that anymore. At one time, it wasn't very difficult, but it might be pretty tough now. Yeah, Carolyn says, just don't touch your fingertips together. Yeah, for sure. You don't want to do that because then you really will have a problem if you do that. Just make sure and let it dry on its own. Yeah, that's not good. I know most of you know it already, but I did glue my finger inside of a guitar one time with CA glue. And it took me 20 minutes to get my hand out of there. It was way worse than you might think. It took a while, and it hurt. I thought I was pulling the skin off. It didn't pull the skin off, fortunately, but I thought I was, the way it was hurting. So after that, anytime I'm using CA glue inside a guitar, I always put on a rubber glove. And I've glued little pieces of rubber up inside them too before. Let's see. Yeah, DE says, don't glue your fingertips together. That's for sure. That's not a good thing. Sidecar Bob, Dan, we bought strings at the local department store one at a time. I was almost 30 before I realized you could get them in a set and in different gauges. Bill Rhodes says, it's my phone. Okay. Back in the 80s, I used CA glue to repair a broken tooth. Message for why? And then he says, it's my phone. Okay, I'm going to pass on that one because that one's still going over my head. Anyway, thanks, guys, for being here. We've been on here 50 minutes already. I didn't realize we've been on here that long. I'm going to get busy and get caught up on my email. And then, like I said, in the morning, my plan is right now to have the vlog later in the day and go straight to work on that floor in the morning. Looks like a question popped up. Charlie Rostern, what's a pirate's favorite letter? R. No, it's the C. Yeah, he sailed on the sea. R. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it. Thanks for being here. We will see you tomorrow afternoon, probably, with something else.